Hey everybody. Well, today's been kind of a trying day on my patience. The fun joy of 3D printing. I've mentioned this before in other videos. If you're not a problem solver and you tend to get angry about things, 3D printing is not for you. But let's get to what I'm doing. So, I was experimenting with different ways to keep these screws from unloosening that hold the bed plate on my Elegoo Neptune 4 Max. As you can see, it's loose now. I took it off. I've used silicone bushings and I've done okay at getting them to stay level for the most part, but I was still trying to dial in what the issues were. So let me show you what I found. Okay, so get down here, at the printer level. The Elegoo Neptune 4 Max comes with this screw. And this is the way to tighten it. Right? So, my Sunloo printers, as crappy and cheap as they are, they came with, and I took it apart just to see because I have one that's not working right now. Same type of screw, but this is the difference. Now what it is, it threads on and it locks this screw to the build plate. I am going to take apart my Sunloo printer and use these pieces, and you probably could buy them. I'm going to look online if I can find them so I can replace and fix my Sunloo, but I have a feeling I can use that to bolt the screw to the build plate so that, in the bracketing system, so that it won't loosen. This won't vibrate loose. Now these still might vibrate loose, but because I'm also using the Sunloo provided a double set. So what you do is you get one right, and then you put the second one on, and you lock it in there pretty tight. And I'm gonna test this theory and see if I can actually get better results. So stay tuned. I'm going to let you know how it goes. Now there's no guarantee that these little guys will work because I just noticed when I was taking them off my Sunloo printer that my screws were a little loose on that too, even with these on. So chances are this won't work. But what I do want to point out, and maybe this will be worth the upgrade. I'm going to look into longer screws. So this came off the Elegoo, this came off the Sunloo, and the screws on, let's see if I can put them down and show you guys. So, you see that? The Sunloo screws are longer, which probably is why I can use 2 of those knobs instead of just 1. So I'm wondering if I switch to 2 knobs and a longer screw, if I can solve some of my struggles I've been having. This might not do it, but maybe the combination of all 3. Let's find out. All right, since the Elegoo has 6 bolts with the screw knobs on them, and my Sunloo only has 4, I'm just gonna have to do all 4 corners and leave the 2 center ones. So that will give me an idea of which ones are working, which ones aren't. If the 2 center ones start loosening up on their own and causing issues, then I will know right away that the ends are actually a fix. The other thing I noticed, if you have purchased these from me, or not from me, but from the Amazon store that I've published a link to, thank you, by the way. That, it's not a lot of money. I only make a few pennies, but still, every little bit helps. There's an actual area for those to fit in. So when this slides on, it will actually cover that area, which is really awesome. So I'm going to get this all bolted together and re-level everything and go from there. And some of you that did buy the rubber bushings, or the silicone bushings, are probably wondering why I said to get the kit that had 4 extra bushings if you bought the Max. It's because you lose them. I have no idea where two of them went? I'll find them eventually, but you know, in the meantime, I just use my extra one. Something I was just thinking about while putting this together, because of the ones that I have, the knobs I have are smaller than the originals. You can kind of see how much bigger this one is. So this is the Sunlu version. You know, I think it might be actually nicer because when I try to get in there with those little wrenches, it's a pain in the butt because these things are so dang big. So it might be nicer that they're a little smaller. We'll see. I haven't put them on yet, but I did because of messing with the bed. It's a little loose, so now I got to adjust all the nuts again. But that's fine. It's a little easier now with the all these off. So I'm gonna go tighten them all up again. Some of you have asked if I put the silicone bushings on the center two little spacers in there. When you take this all apart and you do the bushing swap, there's two metal spacers in there. And I decided to take the spacers out and put the silicone bushings. The reason for that is because I wanted to tighten these as much as possible to keep it from vibrating loose, if that's even possible. So I figured the best bet would be to, it sucks because it takes a little longer to level the bed, but once you get everything dialed in, at least everything's tight. So that's why I took the metal spacers out and put the rubber bushings in, or the silicone bushings. But you know, if you'd rather leave them in, leave them in. I don't like having them in because having them in made it feel like the knobs weren't tight enough and they would just jiggle loose. So that's why I replaced them. And actually, it was a little wiggly. It's because I didn't tighten the two center nuts. Now that I've tightened it, it's not as wiggly. So I'm just going to put them all on and see how it goes.
Actually, I'm gonna reverse that.
So if you're wondering which way I put them on, I put them on like this, the little knobby up on top. So if you can see, I don't know if you can, I'm going to tighten the top one and then snug the bottom one so that the top one doesn't move. You notice that it doesn't move at all. Once I tighten this bottom one real snug, the top one doesn't move at all. So I honestly think that's going to solve some of my issues. And I'm going to look for a kit online to see if I can show you guys which ones to just buy so you don't have to try to dissect an old printer. I've adjusted these eccentric nuts so many fucking times. Oh my god. Oh, I love 3D printing. I love 3D printing. I love 3D printing. Oh, I'm so hard. Oh, fuck. I wish I could say this would go away if I have linear rails, but that has linear rails and I can see eccentric nuts. Oh, I don't even care how it's pronounced anymore. Screw it. Little bastard nuts is what they're called. Little bastards. That's what they're called. Man, these things are a pain in the butt. Here you can see it wiggling. And every time I feel like I just about got it, it loosed up. I love 3D printing. I love it. So freaking sore and tired of this. Back in the day, when I used to work on Volkswagens, I had this old how-to book on how to tear apart your old Volkswagen. Pretty sure it was made by a hippie. And there were several spots in the book that said, before you do this, just whatever, pull the engine or whatever it is, smoke a joint. I have a feeling that if I wrote a book about 3D printing, that would be in the 3D printing book. Before you tackle this job, smoke a joint. It'd probably be on almost every chapter. Not because I think you should smoke weed, because you're gonna need it. God, I'm so frustrated right now. Oh my gosh. Well, I might be completely nuts. Chances are I'm completely nuts. But every time I kept trying to adjust the eccentric nuts, they just spun and spun and spun, and they really never tightened. They always either loosened or just kind of got sloppy. There was really no tightness to them, no matter how many times I would try to tighten it. So I figured out how to take the bed off. You remove the back plate back here, the farthest back plate. You remove that off, you loosen your belts, and you can slide this thing off to the back and then out. And what I have found is there's Allen, I already knew this, but there's Allen heads on the bottom that you can't get to. You can get to a tiny little nut on top, but you can't get to the Allens on the bottom. So I am tightening that Allen and trying to get in there with the nut, with a wrench, to tighten the nut. I don't know, for some reason, no. It worked better when you use the right kind. Wow. I'm having a rough day. Okay, so my hope is, and again, this is just my hope, that this will actually solve my issues. I don't know if it will. You're supposed to be able to just tighten these Allens, or these eccentric nuts, and have them just tighten. And for some reason, mine won't do that. So I noticed that every time I try to tighten them, the nut just spun. Maybe that's what they're supposed to do, but they sure as hell weren't getting tight. And sure, maybe I was doing it the wrong way. But then, you know, when you go back the other direction, you would think it would tighten. And ironically, I watched videos on YouTube after I couldn't get it to work, and they were not helpful. Oh, I really hope this helped, because this was a pain in the neck. Really hope this helps. Oh, that's a bitch. That is one bitch of a bracket to get on. All right, so I got the bed off, put back on. I got a little wheels and nuts and bolts tightened. I found that if you tighten this way, it tightens this bed up. You know, I watched some of the videos on YouTube and they were all tightening this way, and that seemed to loosen everything up for me when I did that. So I'm doing it the opposite way and having better results. I could be doing it wrong, but I need to move this back. As some of you probably noticed, I'm trying out some new feet shock absorbers. I'm just having good luck with the foam. You know, maybe I need a better foam, but this is just shaking so much. So I'm trying new feet out. These are technically for like you know, air compressors and that sort of thing. Looking at that one and how fast it's going and how much it's shaking, and watching even though this is bolted to the wall and built really sturdy, it still shakes the crap out of this bench. Still. Oh, this has just been such a nightmare. And this is 3D printing, by the way. It's not the printer. My wife keeps telling me to just send it back and get a better one. You're going to have to do this with any bed slinger. So if you don't want to do this nightmare, get a Bamboo Lab printer or something. Because, oh, fudge. So sick of this. Just tighten already, you little bastard. It works. Son of a bitch. I fucking hate printing. Well, I realize this is not a very flattering look on me. I think I figured it all out. Unfortunately taking this bed off altogether. Right now I'm tightening this plate back on. Taking it off altogether and tightening the Allen on all these eccentric nuts. That seemed to help my issue. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you why. You know, the eccentric nuts are just supposed to turn and tighten or turn and loosen, and mine just spun. They just spun around. I have a feeling, because I was watching it, I have a feeling that it had to do with maybe the Allen screw and the nut weren't tight enough. You know, on my old bed, if you tightened it too much, then the wheel would get too tight and you couldn't move the wheel, so you could actually have more issues. On these, I noticed there's spacers, so when I tightened it really tight, the wheel still moved freely. So I just tightened the crap out of it and then put it back on and adjusted it, and it seems to have tightened up on me. So I'm not getting the play I was getting before. Still don't like this too much, but no matter how much I try, I can't seem to get that perfect. So I'm gonna re-level it. I've got the belt back attached. If you want to learn how to take this off, you know, basically you unscrew the belt, loosen the belt up, take the belt off of both pulleys, you take that back piece off and you just slide this back, and then once you do that you can get to the bottom nut. You know, so not too bad, honestly. It really wasn't too bad. So now we get to proceed with leveling. And because I bumped into this a few times, I should probably double check my gantry height. If you pull on this wire up here, you can raise it. This is raise and lower it. So I'm just going to do it by hand. See if I can get it dialed in. So it looks like it's still level. If you want to be certain about that, get your old-fashioned level or your square. Check your square. The measurements are the same. They're all the same. These come in handy. Yeah, I bought a 2-pack. You know, maybe I'll put that in my link, my Amazon store as well, so you guys can see. But these come in handy. If you buy the 2-pack, it comes with the really big one. You can check to make sure your bed is flat. I've seen beds warp and get bent. The Sunloo one that I just took all of this stuff off of, I'm pretty sure I bent it trying to get it all out. So, you know, if I ever did try to get that Sunloo printer working again, I'd have to replace the bed again. So, you know, these do come in handy for a lot more reasons. Let's get the leveling done, and hopefully this bastard will work in good order again. Oh my gosh. If you're curious how I level the bed, obviously that's too much. So it'd be a lot quicker if I used both hands. It seems pretty good. Now because I added the Sunloo springs, I've got a double washer on there. I can tighten this thing, the bottom one. It's still pretty good. Now we're gonna go to 2. Now see, that one's real tight. So I'm going to tighten it. It already started ripping my paper, so get it out of there. There, now it's loose again. Too tight. Unfortunately, you gotta play around with it until you get it just right. Okay, I think that was right. 3. Oh man, it's been a long day. I have been working on this printer all day. Right, so we're gonna tighten it because it's already got a lot of, it's already really tight. Alright, it's still pretty tight, but when I go to tighten the second little locker on there and getting it real snug, it usually loosens it up and gets a little looser, but it didn't, so let's see what we can do about that. And of course it came out. Yeah, I think that's perfect. Sadly, I'm going to repeat this process one more time around. Even after I get it all dialed in, I'm going to do it one more time just to make sure. See, that's... Oh, I'm missing one here. Interesting. So I'll have to find the other one, wherever it is. It might still be on the printer. The Sunloo printer, because that's where I got these knobs. Okay, so it's loose. It's getting there, just about. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yep, that's tight. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, okay. We went down to 6 now. Oh, my back is hurting, my legs are hurting. This has been a very trying day. Trying on my patience, trying on my nerves. Come on. I'm gonna have to put you down for that. For this. All right. That's done. I went around a second time. The reason for that is because when I got to that corner, it was a little different than when I thought I had left it. So I just went around one more time just to make sure. So it's all manually leveled. All four corners have double wheels or double locking knobs, I guess I should say. So hopefully I'll have better luck with those. Man, it has been trying to... so the machine is now home. I'm going to do confirm and it will auto level. Now I already turned on the bed and the hot end for PLA, so it's already warmed up and ready to go. And that's why it'll start leveling quicker than if you were to wait for it to heat up. See how it looks like it's going to heat up? For those of you curious, you go up into prepare, temp, and PLA. I'll preset it for 225 because that's where I like my first temperature at. So I'll go back. It starts to warm up. And then so I actually already kind of pre-charged it. Now I do that same thing when I want to print something, or if I know I'm going to start a print. I come out here, I get the hot end. I basically set it up for the PLA for everything to heat up before I start my print. And then that way when I plug it in and hit print, it starts printing within a minute or two. Some things I should show off. I did do there's a little STL file that you can print to put a plate, basically a bracket to keep the plate on and in the right spot. It makes life a little easier. I also did, you can kind of see it back there. It's a mess, I'm sorry. Trying different things, so I need to clean up my mess, but I made cable chains. One of the guys that made this kit for the build plate to line up, I got grease on me. He was kind enough to make one for the cable chain accessory, so I'll tag his link in the description so you have all of this stuff right at your fingertips so you can print it all off and you know what I'm using. And then I'm going to try to find the replacement screws and all of the stuff that you need to do what I just did. I just did it, so I don't know if it's going to help. You're welcome to comment in the comments below and ask me, if it's been a couple of days or a week or a month. I'll give you an update. Sorry about my mess over there. I just kind of have had a rough day and everything's just kind of been pushed to the side. But I will clean it up and have my workbench back here in a few minutes. And there it goes, starting to level the bed. I'm not going to make you watch this because it's a very boring process. Plus, I think I need to sit down. I've been working on this a lot today, so I'm exhausted. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have more questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, we're at the menu where it's finished leveling, and it's asking me to use a piece of paper, check the Z, and it is nice and snug in there. So we're gonna hit confirm, look at the numbers. Those are some pretty good looking numbers. I'm happy with that. That's fine with me, I'm good. All right, I'm gonna do save, confirm. All right. Let that save, and then I will start my new print, which is going to be a bunch more stuff to hopefully help my printer print properly. Oh, what a day. Here's my first test print since re-leveling the bed, changing out the knobs and the screws on the bed plate. Let's see if I got a degree of adhesion. So far so good. Nice squish to the filament. I'm just going to keep an eye on it because I don't want to
big old blob of death to form up on my hot end. This is usually when it starts. So if you've never heard of the blob of death, it's basically your first layer. This particular layer starts to peel up off of the build plate and starts getting stuck to your hot end, and then it just clogs it and just gets this big old goo of filament all over your hot end, and it just destroys your hot end. People have been able to salvage them. You can buy new ones. Sometimes Elegoo is nice enough to send you one. Just depends on the situation, but to prevent it, the best prevention you can do is having a good first layer. So you don't see anything peeling up, that's a good sign. If it starts to peel up, then we go back to leveling the bed, and I did, because of all the touching and fiddling I did with this build plate, I did take this sheet off and hand wash it again. I've hand washed this thing a few times. You basically just use soap and water, regular dish soap, and you just, nice hot water and nice, just scrub it clean, and then you put it back on and it should work good. I've tried rubbing alcohol and I haven't had as good of success as I have with just regular dish soap and water. So just take it off, wash it like you do a regular dish, and put it back on, and hopefully everything will stick good. Sometimes things don't stick, and it's the filament. I've had filament that did not stick to the build plate no matter what I did, no matter how good my layer adhesion should have been. Sometimes the filament just is garbage filament and doesn't stick. So when that's the case, if you want to try to salvage it, you can use glue sticks or whatever other people have done. I've never used a glue stick. I've got a couple of rolls of filament like that, and I just don't use it. So it's just trash, and lesson learned, I don't buy from them again. So if you want to know what I use, I have had good luck with Sunlu filament. I believe they also own Jayco, I think is how it's pronounced. I've never tried it. I've had people tell me it's basically the same as Sunlu. So, you can look up both brands. I have had good luck with Sunlu, so I just kind of stick with what I know. Sorry, I was just noticing some of that first layer looks a little off, but it's not peeling up, so that's fine. I'll leave it. I might, after this, because this is basically some test prints of parts, so if this, I might be a little too close. I might have to adjust the Z offset on this thing, just kind of looking at how this moves out of the way, how that looks. Because it should look smooth. It's hard to see because it won't get out of the way. Anyway, you can kind of see it. So there you go. There's basically the first layer. It's going to keep trying to print. I'm going to run inside, make some dinner, and check on this again here in a few minutes just to make sure I don't have a little bit of a blob. But otherwise, so far so good. Something I just noticed. You hear that? It sounds like the nozzle. Sounds like the nozzle's dragging on the build plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here into my settings, so you can see settings, and then you go to adjust, and I'm going to adjust this ever so slightly, and then see if I can get rid of that. I don't hear it making the noise anymore. So that's the Z offset. I can still kind of hear it. So back to the drawing board. Adjust. I think I got it. And I don't want to damage the plate by having the nozzle drag. It still sounds like it's too close. I might play with it just a little bit more, but that's how you do it. Go to settings one more time. I'm going to switch it to 30. And hopefully this will do it.
I think I got it. But you can see how some of the, it doesn't look nice and smooth. I think I was too close. I think I got it. Well, if you sat through and watched that entire video, thank you. Thank you for the support. Thanks for watching my videos. This is probably the 4th or 5th print I've had on this printer since I've switched out those screws and added the double knobs on here. I honestly can't tell you that I've seen a huge difference. I have had to re-level the bed at least once since then. This morning when I woke up, there was a print on this printer and it was a big spaghetti mess. There was a layer shift. I think it had to do with maybe the belt being too tight. I'm still not convinced that's what it was, but the more I tightened the belt, the more the layer shift got worse. So I have a feeling that it was probably the belt being too tight. I'm testing a new print on it. But that being said, all in all, when I did re-level the bed, I did have to re-level every corner like I would normally. And I noticed that probably maybe it was better. The 2 center ones that had the single knob and the original screws, they both definitely had to be adjusted. So, I'm still not convinced it was a fix. So I may not put links to anything at this point in time that, until I can find all the parts and confirm that it was actually worth doing. I don't want to put you guys all through all of that if it's not even worth doing. So, I am still going to keep printing on it. I'm still going to keep playing around with it, and I'm hoping that this did help improve at least the oftenness I would have to replace or re-level the bed. But so far, I've already had to re-level the bed once since doing that, and it's only been 3 days. So, probably not a benefit so far from what I can tell, but it is what it is. The eccentric nuts are working properly. Everything seems to be printing. The only issue was the layer shift that I have a feeling was belt related. So we'll see. But the Anycubic is just cruising right along. And I am playing around with the mats and some different options to try to figure out how to get rid of some of the vibrations, or at least dampen the vibrations. So I don't want the print itself to have the vibrations travel to it, but that seems to be what's happening no matter what I do. I did slow this down a little bit, but yet you can still see it's still cruising right along. So yeah, I may not have done anything really to help me because there's still some ghosting in there. But overall, still happy with both printers. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any comments, any questions, let me know. Sorry this video didn't have a better outcome, I guess I should say. But I'm still not convinced it's not going to help. So we'll see. But at least now you guys know what I'm trying. Thanks for watching.